Thanks for tuning in to Any Given Sunday's West Coast edition. Again, I'm your host, Steve. We got a lot to get into. Some craziness happening. We're halfway almost through the year, which is crazy to think in terms of fantasy football that you're like halfway through the season. But we got, again, a lot of great things to go through. We're going to first go through our breaking news. We have two trades that went down. To catch you up, the first trade that we have is the Florida Thirst Traps trade Baker Mayfield and Brandin Cooks to the New York Powers. And in exchange, the Powers send Cole Beasley and LeSean McCoy. It's been very quiet around the league. Nobody's really commented about it. Truthfully, I mean, you're looking really at Brandin Cooks and LeSean McCoy. It's interesting because Brandin Cooks has been like passed around 4 times already. If you remember, the Powers actually had Brandin Cooks in the beginning of the year. They traded Brandin Cooks to the Empire in order to acquire Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley got hurt, The Empire quickly cut bait because they needed a consistent receiver, and they traded and essentially got a different piece back. They needed a quarterback more desperately than they needed a receiver. So now that went to the Florida Thirst Traps, and Florida Thirst Traps, I think, have grown weary of Brandin Cooks up and down, so they essentially traded him back to the Powers. So in return, though, he gets LeSean McCoy, which, again, LeSean McCoy, it's a toss-up, too. He's not really the most consistent. And Cole Beasley, he had a good game, but is he going to be consistent? Cole Beasley is not the number one receiver. He's behind John Brown, who plays the slot a lot. On the other side, Powers getting Baker Mayfield, which I don't know if they really traded for Baker Mayfield. Maybe they're just kind of holding on to wait and see. It's an interesting trade. I think, does it help Florida Thirst Traps out? I think it maybe does, and again, it depends on LeSean McCoy. But yeah, we'll see. Cole Beasley is a good plug-in if he can keep with the consistent numbers. So we'll see. Then the second trade that we have is My Wife Ruins Everything trades Sony Michel to Tampa's Empire for DJ Chark. So this one, I think a lot of people are gonna have a mixed bag about it. DJ Chark is the number 8 receiver in the league, I believe, and maybe his rankings are higher last time I checked. And really, this was an agreed upon mutual thing set in place 2 weeks ago, where both these teams have been very adamant that they want the other guy. And I think Dom was a little adamant and hesitant, and DJ Chark wasn't necessarily a believer, but ever since my boy, in Jacksonville, Uncle Rico, as I like to call him, took the helm at quarterback. He's made DJ Chark look really good. But on the flip side, the reason why the Empire did the trade is they actually have bye weeks. They need Sony Michel to plug in, and Mixon hasn't been that guy. You would say Mixon's been underwhelmingly bad. And you could even argue that with Alvin Kamara, so maybe they're looking for more depth. That's essentially, actually, no, it is what it is. That's why that's why they made this trade. They really need running back depth. And the receivers have been inconsistent. And we'll get into it again with all the teams and my analysis and all that. But yeah, in terms of who won that deal, I do think it's an even deal. The numbers don't necessarily say that. It would suggest that Dom won this deal, but I think long term, the Empire thinks Sony Michel is going to. He had a good game last week, and even though DJ Chark outscored him, I do think Sony Michel's stats are only going to get better towards the later half of the year when things get colder. So that's the breaking news. Let's quickly go into the recap of the games. We'll start off with the bottom of the barrel game. Daytona's Daunting Ducks faced off Tampa's Empire. Tampa's Empire put up 85 points. Daytona Daunting Ducks looked good throughout, put up a $147.5. Russell Wilson put up 37 points on the first night. You knew it was going to be a high-scoring game. And then Adam Thielen and Tyler Boyd, of all people. I mean, Thielen, of course, was going to score 28.5 points. But Tyler Boyd, 23 points? Man, came out of nowhere. His bench looked good. On the other side, Tampa's Empire, their leaders were Marlon Mack putting 15.5, which is solid. And Zach Ertz putting 13.5. But Carson Wentz put up 13. And at the end of the day, it's not enough. It wasn't enough. The Empire are just a bad team. Let's be real. They're a bad team. They stink. They're not good. You're going to start seeing this trend with the Empire when they play high-scoring teams. They're just not going to keep up with them. They just haven't been scoring. The next game we had the New York Powers playing Savage Gang. New York Powers put up a $114, and Savage Gang, they put up 83.5. Savage Gang falls to 2-3. New York Powers 4-1. And just to recap the earlier game, I don't know if I said it, Daytona Daunting Ducks now 3-2. Tampa's Empire 1-4. But back to the Powers. Powers look good. They put up $114. They're in the area of where they're going to score. What really carried them was the Philadelphia defense. Patrick Mahomes looked normal. He put up 19 points. And his third best player was Carson, putting up 17.5. Savage Gang, man, had a great game from Godwin. Godwin looked good. Elliott put up 15 points. D.D. Westbrook even put, 11.5, but their quarterback situation, they didn't roll with the right quarterback, and, it kind of burnt them. I'm not going to lie, it kind of burnt them. So, maybe Kiki can do something different down the road. I don't know. I know she's traded for some quarterbacks in the past, so we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that situation and see if she makes any changes before the trade deadline for a more consistent quarterback. But she falls to 2-3. Our next game we had is Slap Sauce playing a Slightly Punty Vibe. Slap Sauce came out of the gate putting up a $137.5. Slightly Punty Vibe put up 96. Slap Sauce improves to 3-2. A Slightly Punty Vibe 2-3. And look, if Deshaun Watson can put up 53 points every game, this team is set. Let me tell you, set for life. Because Deshaun Watson looked like a man on a vengeance. You know what I mean? He was just so good. And not to take anything away from Anthony, I mean, Dak Prescott showed up. He put up 28 points. That is a really solid performance from a quarterback. And his DJ put up 16.5. But then you look at the rest of it, and what's funny is you had Deshaun Watson put up 50 points, and none of those points went to DeAndre Hopkins. Barely any. It went. Fuller had an amazing game, so it's just you're just wait, what happened? So I'm not worried about a Slightly Punty Vibe. Slap Sauce, though, they're a good team. I'll give it to you, Sean. You got a squad over there, and if you could keep scoring those points, man, you're gonna make me a pretty big believer. And I think. I think there's a lot that could be done for sure. All right, let's go to the next game. Colorado Drayton playing Florida Thirst Traps. My man, this one hurts me. This one hurts me because Florida Thirst Traps, they came out and played. They balled. They put up a $153. You should win this game. You really should win this game. Colorado Drayton said, nah. I'm gonna put up a $159.5. My man literally loses by less than 5 points. That's just gut wrenching. My man plays anybody else, he's golden. He puts up a $153 and loses, man. That's what you call just chalk up the bad, terrible luck. You know what I mean? So Florida Thirst Traps fall to 0-5. Colorado Drayton staying first in the West at 4-1. They surpassed McPoon because of the points. Aaron Jones, 44.5 points, just look amazing. Christian McCaffrey also put up 44 points. You know, and on the other side, like my man, like his team balled. He had Amari Cooper put up 35.5. Brady put up 29. Fournette put a McCaffrey-like performance. It put up 20 points, you know? It's not 44 points, but they're using him like McCaffrey, which is interesting. And man, my man loses, man. Damn, man. I feel bad. I feel terrible for you, bro. I really do. And then game of the week. It was McPoon handling GOAT engines, playing Doms. My wife ruins everything. And my wife's ruined everything, put a $112, a very solid performance. But it was McPoon putting a $143.5, man. Just nasty. Michael Thomas blew up, 35.5 points. Jacobs put up 27.5. Philip Lindsay put up 22. I mean, his whole roster blew up. And on the other side, man, look, he had a great performance. Sony Michel is on there. Cooper Kupp, Cook, Dalvin Cook, all of them showed up, man. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't enough. And Dom falls to 2 and 3. He's third in the rest. McPoon 4 and 1. They slip a little back only because of the points. But, man, those two teams in the West are looking good. They're looking really good. All right, guys, so look, I'm going to quickly go through the next games. I know I like to give a lot of analysis, and tell you how I feel and go through each and one of them. But I really want to focus on who's in, who's out, who needs to hit the panic button or has already been hitting the panic button, where these teams are at. I want to talk about each team. So I'm going to quickly go through the matchups, and I'll still give you the game of the week. The first game, bottom of the barrel game, I'm going to put myself in it. I'm not going to lie. Tampa's Empire, 1 and 4. Playing McPoon handlers, 4 and 1. Look, until my team can score consistently on a consistent basis, I just do not feel confident picking my team. And it's nothing, I can't lie. It's a bad team. It's a bad team. And I'm going to go with McPoon. McPoon's going to put up the points. They're seasoned. They know what they're doing. They're going to win. Next game, slightly punty vibe, right? 2 and 3 going into Savage Gang, 2 and 3. This is a make it or break it type of game. This is big. Both of them, they're projected closely. Look, I like Kiki's team. I like Phillip Rivers. I like Ezekiel Elliott. I like Julio Jones. But I like a slightly punty vibe that much better. And it's because Prescott's been looking good. I think, Duke's going to have a good game. He still has, I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to blow up. The fact that he put, a decent game, he's going to blow up. I think he's going to blow up, and I think a slightly punty vibe has the weapons to make it through. The next game, Slap Sauce playing Colorado Drayton. And this one's a big one, right? Because you have two teams from each side. You got Slap Sauce and Sean, 3 and 2, second in the East Division. You have Anthony on the other side, 4 and 1 in the West Division, looking tall. And really, this is a really close matchup. I want to take the upset, and here's why. I'm going to take the upset. I'm going to pick you, Sean. You know why I'm going to pick you, Sean? Because Deshaun Watson looked really good, and I think that's going to continue. I think Derrick Henry is going to bounce back. I think Kelsey's going to have a good game. I think that Kansas City offense is going to come out really mad and upset, and they're going to blow up because of that loss. And on the other side, look, I know I've been hating on the Rams, and the Rams lost 2, and I'm not going to say the Rams are going to lose 3 straight. I just don't see that, right? I do think they're going to get their points. But let me tell you something. Christian McCaffrey will not be having the same game. There is fatigue that sets in. The fact that he missed practice, he's having a bad week. I know usually Jesus would come in and chomp and be like, oh, you're crazy, blah, 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 blah. Look, the reality is, man, is they have McCaffrey. He's everything that they got. But they need to start thinking about putting him on a pitch count. And I think Ron Rivera is actually going to think about that and not going to wear this kid out. I think you're going to see the touches a little bit less. I just don't think he's going to have that type of game again. I'm sorry. He was used a lot. My man was on the sideline huffing and puffing, and I would be too. Shoot, I would be dead after the first play. So I think only for that reason, I gotta go for Slap Sauce. Next game we have, man, Florida Thirst Traps playing my wife ruins everything. I'm gonna take the upset again. Give me Florida. Give me Florida, and I'm sorry, Dom. Dom, I like your team, but I think the Florida Thirst Traps, you know what? Like, if they put up that many points last week, you know what I'm saying? And they're still actively trying to make this roster good, I think they get their first win. I think they're gonna crack it, you know? Every dog has its day. You know, every now and then, a squirrel finds a nut, and this is it. And I think Florida Thirst Traps gonna get this game on you, Dom. I think Gabe deserved it for last week, so he's gonna make it up for this week. I'm telling you that right now. And then game of the week, you know, it's got to be the Daytona Daunting Ducks versus the New York Powers. You got 3-2 versus 4-1, both in the East. Very crucial game. Look, Daytona, this is your shot, man. You want to prove the world. You want to come out. You want to say like, hey, we're a true fantasy team. You know, and you look at the history of this team, even before this owner, right? I mean, it's not been historically great for the Daytona Daunting Ducks, right? I mean, since history just does not prove itself of having a winning season. And yet, they're on the brink of having a very good season. And you know what? Le'Veon Bell, Tyler Boyd, they came out, they proved something. I want to pick you, man. I want to pick you. But I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. You know why? Patrick Mahomes, I told you, he's gonna have a game. He's gonna go off. You know, and look, the rest of the roster, you look at his roster, man. Kenny Galladay, Melvin Gordon. You know, pick your poison, man. Pick your poison. There's just too many weapons to deal with on that team. I think it's going to be a close game. I really do. But I think the New York Powers are a seasoned team, and I think they're going to find a way to win it. And so those are my picks. And look, let's go through the standings, and I only left myself like 3 minutes to talk about each team, which is terrible. But I really want to go through this because, I mean, this is the breaking point, right? We're middle of the season. Things are kind of getting crazy. And, you know, I want to give you kind of my thoughts on the teams and where they stand. And look, it's rough for those bottom teams, man. So I'm going to start with the 0-5 Florida Thirst Traps. I did say they're going to get their first win this week, man. But whew, they got a long way to climb, man. They're sitting 4 games back right now. If they win and Colorado Drayton somehow loses, which I picked to lose, you know, but again, I got McPoon beating the Empire. I mean, you're still looking at 4 games back from the top, right? So at this point, you're just trying to salvage the season. You're just trying to get to 7-6, right? You just need to put some sort of streak together, right? And I just don't know if it could be happening. I mean, I do give you a win, and we'll see what happens after the next week. But man, it's a tough sledding for you. The next team, Tampa's Empire, 1-4. This is a trash team. I'm gonna be real. Look, I thought I was drafted good. I was not. I believed in Mixon. I really thought the new coach and coordinator would turn this team around. It didn't. I thought Alvin Kamara would repeat his season. Breeze got hurt. I mean, man, you just look down, you know, I mean, I got Marlon Mack. I mean, Mack's been doing good. He's been doing great. But, you know, the inconsistency with all these guys, I mean, they're just not all putting it together at the same time. And you're seeing this 85. And also, sleeping on the quarterback from the draft, I'm going to own it. I'm going to own it. And I'm still going through it, you know, because Wentz is, you know, I hate it. I hate it. He'll do 0 throughout the whole game, and in the fourth quarter, he somehow manages to get 2 touchdowns. Like, it pisses me off. It's crazy. It's just a bad team. Next team, Dom. My wife's doing everything. And Dom, man, you got a good team. I just don't understand what's happening at 2-3 because, you know what I mean? You got some talent on that squad, but you just, I don't know. We gotta do something, man. You gotta put something together. I mean, the talent's there. I just don't understand how you're sitting at 2-3. And I mean, you're not that bad as far as points, and you know, you scored 617 so far this year. I mean, it's respectable. You're scoring more than the third best team in the league. So I don't know what's happening, my man. Like, I gotta see you put it together. The next team, 2-3, Savage Gang. Look, I don't know. Kiki. I don't know where you're going. I don't know what's gonna happen with you. I mean, I was a big favorite up yours in the beginning, and now I'm really trailing off. I feel like you gotta find a trade somewhere. You gotta increase. Like, I just see you as a potentially down turning team, and you gotta tweak the roster. You definitely do, and I think you got a chance to salvage it. Unlike myself and unlike Gabe, where we're sitting at the back. So you got a chance to turn this thing around. Next 2 and 3 team, look, Anthony, you can't lose against these bad teams, man. You gotta start winning You gotta start winning games against these bad teams. You win the games against these good teams, but when bad teams play you, it's just like something happens. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily that they're bad teams, but just historically, like, they're just not great teams. You know what I mean? And then myself this year was I'm not gonna lie, my one win was a lucky win, but you know, you can't lose against teams like me when I'm losing to everybody else. So you got to turn that around. At 3 and 2, Daytona Daunting Ducks, man, fight on, find a way, man. I mean, I hope you prove me wrong this week. I hope you can find a way to beat, you know, the Powers, and you know, we can start talking about you on a weekly basis. But you know, this is your season. You're on the brink, man. You're sitting in playoff mode right now. It's between you and Slap Sauce, you know, and you gotta find a way to win out. And then speaking of Slap Sauce 3 and 2, Sean, tip my hat off to you, man. I doubted your team. I was not a big fan of your team in the beginning of the season. You and Daytona Daunting Ducks have been proving me wrong. You know, putting my foot in my mouth. You know, so I hope you can continue it. I really do. After that, then we start talking about the 3, 4, and 1 teams. And look, these 3, 4, and 1 teams, I'm telling you right now, they're making the playoffs. They look good. McPoon, Colorado Drayton, New York Powers. A, finding ways to win. B, consistently high scoring. With the exception of McPoon, they're a little behind and trailing, but hey, that brings me to my next point. You gotta have some luck. And these 3 teams have found lucky ways to win, and I think they're gonna continue that, sitting at 800%. I just don't see these guys being knocked out. So there you have it, guys. There's my recap. Sorry it took a little long. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you guys next time. Again, I'll try to get you some new guests and things like that. But the schedule's been crazy out here in LA. What can I say? You know, I'm trying to make it in film. That's why I do this. All right, guys. See ya.